Spider-Man, Spider-Man. It is time to rank the Spider-Man movies, and I want to first say that I liked all of these movies. There are some aspects that I really loved, some that I didn't love so much, but overall I really enjoyed watching all of these movies, some for the first time this year and some in rewatches. And so there is in no way any hates at any of these movies, and I know everyone has their own opinions, so comment down below your ranking of all 8 live action Spider-Man movies. I'm not including Venom and I'm not including Into the Spider-Verse. This is just Tobey Maguire's, Andrew Garfield's and Tom Holland's movies. In my last spot, in number 8, is Spider-Man 3.
This is something else. I'm gonna cry.
And I feel like everyone has the same opinion on this movie. There are some aspects that are just really funny, really memeable. There are a lot of memes that came out of this movie, but then everyone agrees that there's way too many villains in this. The big fight that happens in the end of this movie, I really thought they just killed off Venom so easily and I had just like missed it, but he just comes back again like a couple of minutes later and yeah, he's in it again. So they just had too many villains, too much going on in this movie. Tobey Maguire, like he's the highlight of this movie, and I really did like him, but I also didn't like him because it felt so out of character for his character. Yes, it was the Venom symbiote making him act this way. I loved it, but I also didn't love it, and so this movie was a mess. It was a hot mess. A funny hot mess, but still a mess. At number 7 is The Amazing Spider-Man, Andrew Garfield's first movie.
Is that a real knife? Yes, it's a real knife. My weakness, it's small knives.
I can't really remember that much that happens in this movie. I know that the villain is the Lizard, and I prefer Dr. Kurt Connors way more than him as the Lizard because, yeah, it was just creepy. He looked weird. They make a joke about him being a dinosaur in No Way Home, and yes, he looks more like a dinosaur than a lizard. I really like the dynamic between like Andrew and Gwen Stacy's dad, as well as obviously the relationship between Andrew and Gwen Stacy. Don't know why I'm saying Andrew, Peter and Gwen Stacy. My favourite aspect in like both of his movies is the relationship between him and Gwen. I know that she finds out straight away and I loved that. That's probably why I love this movie just more than 8th spot, because she finds out that he is Spider-Man right at the moment that they get together, so we didn't have any of that wavering with all the other movies. And number 6 for me is Spider-Man Far From Home.
Can I be completely honest with you?
Please.
They look really stupid.
Oh.
My biggest praise with this movie is the visual effects. Any scene where he is fighting like the illusion, he's inside like with the drones, it just looks so cool, and it led for a really amazing sequence where like his Peter Tingle starts working and he is like seeing these drones but not really seeing them, fighting them all off. One accidentally shoots Beck and then he goes to shoot Spider-Man. That's some heavy stuff. You got the best post-credit scene ever. I liked where they like went to all these different places. They came to London, they came to my hometown. But then like other than that, I really didn't like Mysterio. Like I liked Jake Gyllenhaal's performance, but I also didn't like him. Like he wasn't a villain that I loved to hate. I just kind of like hated him. Like obviously it's good to hate a villain, and I did hate the villain, but I also just kind of like didn't really like him either. At number 5, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Oh my gosh, boy did I cry when Gwen Stacy died. This movie, yes, is a hot mess as well, but I did actually quite like Electro. I really like Jamie Foxx's performance in this. The CGI for him, I didn't like that he was blue. That just looked a bit weird, but also the special effects were also pretty cool. When like they were fighting and you had like the electricity, like the bolts, like that was in slow motion. You also had Spider-Man like swinging in slow motion. I really did like that. Also like but not like the relationship and chemistry between Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield in this movie, because they had a lot, well they won't they, on off, but I liked how she like stood her ground. I was like, no, we're done. I'm going off to England. So yeah, you had the tragic death of Gwen Stacy, Andrew Garfield's performance in that. Oh gosh, boy did he make me cry. But then there was also a really funny moment where instead of shouting at Spider-Man, she shouts at Peter, and I just thought that was so funny. I love Andrew Garfield in both his movies, but I really love Emma Stone. She's the best love interest, and that's why The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is just better than the first one. My number 4th and 3rd spot are kind of equal, same with my 2nd and 1st spot, because I love both those movies and it was really difficult to be like which one is higher. But in number 4 is the first Spider-Man movie, 2002.
Shazam! Go! Go! Go, Web, go!
I love this movie so much because the Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe, was absolutely incredible in this movie. He's one of like the best villains I have ever seen. Him as Norman Osborn, but then him as the Green Goblin, how he was so quick to like interchange between both of these characters. Oh, like his performance, oh my god. And Tobey Maguire, yes, he was okay, he got all that nerdy stuff, and I really did like the story as well, but just Willem Dafoe, like this one, oh my god, was incredible. Spider-Man was also just like a perfect origin story for like Tobey Maguire's Peter. It really like suited him. He really like embodied the Peter character. It's a little bit cringy, a little bit awkward as well, but that is what Peter is. In number 3 is Spider-Man Homecoming.
You're that Spider guy on YouTube, right? Call me Spider-Man! Okay, Spider-Man!
I much preferred Tom Holland's portrayal of Peter, and I liked how this wasn't an origin story because we've seen it 2 times before. We also got his first snippet of Tom Holland's Spider-Man in Civil War, and that is one of my favourite MCU films. But Homecoming, I love the villain. I love Vulture. Michael Keaton, oh my god, that one scene in particular where he opens the door and Peter sees that Liz's dad is the Vulture, is the bad guy, is the villain, and also followed up by the car scene where he threatens him with a gun. He threatens the 15-year-old kid saying, I'm gonna kill you and I'm gonna kill everyone you love. Like honestly, so intense. There's also a lot of intense moments with Spider-Man himself. The whole like building kind of collapsed on him and he's under all this rubble and he's like, come on Peter, come on Spider-Man, come on Spider-Man, and you see the reflection where it's like half him, half Spider-Man, like the theme throughout all of these movies, living a double life, living as Peter, living as Spider-Man. You can't do both. They're like inseparable. It comes crashing down eventually, and this movie really had that, where it like came crashing down. And even like the ending, yes, the battle wasn't that great, but where Spider-Man still tries to save the Vulture, and especially with the end credit scene where the Vulture doesn't give up Peter's identity as Spider-Man. This movie just had a lot of core to it. I just really liked it, and I also just really loved the friendship between Peter and Ned. Ned was a perfect guy in the chair. He was just so funny. At number 2 is Spider-Man 2.
Easy now.
Butterfingers.
With our lovely boy Doc Ock. He is such a great villain, and I really thought that I loved Green Goblin when I first watched that movie, but then when I watched the second movie I loved Doc Ock, but then when I watched No Way Home I loved them both even more. Spider-Man 2 just has so much heart to it. There's the one scene in particular, the big fight scene on the train, absolutely incredible, so intense. Doc Ock is actually quite scary as well with his tentacles, especially with like the horror like scene where he's like in the hospital and he's, how it's filmed, the sound, everything was just really but also the scene after that, like right after that, where Tobey has been unmasked this whole time, and so everyone has seen that Spider-Man is he's just a little kid, and it was just so heartwarming. I cried so much when they was like, we're gonna keep your secret, we're not gonna tell anyone who you are. Just as emotional as in like Hannah Montana the movie where she takes off her wings like, it's just me, Miley Stewart. But no, that scene was just too emotional, and this movie just had so much heart to it, so much like moments where you think MJ's about to die, you think Aunt May's about to die, just so much crazy. And then obviously Doc Ock's redemption at the end of the movie was just such a sweet moment. So sad that he died as well. Like I hate when the villains like become good again by the end of the movie, but how like they're becoming good they have to sacrifice themselves. It's just sad, but this movie just had so much heart to it, honestly. But if I thought that Spider-Man 2 had so much heart and so much moments, so many, oh my god, is this person gonna die? In my number 1 spot is Spider-Man No Way Home.
I know a couple of magic words myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
And I know I'm being a bit like, this movie just came out, how am I putting it number 1? I've watched it twice, and honestly, what made all these other movies good, like my favourite moments, my favourite aspects of those other movies, all of them are in this movie. And so when you put everything great from all these different movies into one movie and it worked really well together, it's obviously gonna have to be my favourite movie. It had so much emotion in it. This is Tom Holland's best performance in his Spider-Man trilogy. I think it's also the best performance for Andrew Garfield as well. I really liked how he shined in this movie. Honestly, it felt so nice seeing him like have his redemption, not just by saving MJ, but also have his redemption as playing Spider-Man. These movies didn't get the best rep, and I just felt so sorry for him because he loved playing this character, and it's so nice that he got to play it again. I want to see him play it again. And also Tobey Maguire coming back as well. Like none of them looked like they had been away from this, as well as the villains, Alfred Molina, Willem Dafoe. They embody these roles once again, and I loved Green Goblin in his first movie in Spider-Man 2002, but oh my god, Willem Dafoe in this movie scared the shit out of me. He was so crazy, especially in the scene where Spider-Man is punching him in the face. He's just smiling. His smile is getting bigger and bigger. Peter dealing with Aunt May's death and all these Spider-Man interaction, the web swinging scene, Peter's new suit. This movie just had everything so great about it. Yes, like it could be a little bit slow, a little bit muddled in the beginning. It all started with Peter being stupid, first going to Doctor Strange to cast a spell so the world forget that Peter is Spider-Man, rather than just ringing up MIT like, actually, can my friends, like, can you think them over again? Keep your thoughts on me separate from them. But that is kind of like what Peter is as well. He is irrational, awkward, stupid, and doesn't really think a lot of stuff through, and he's just a kid. He's what, 17, and now he's all alone, and I can't wait for his next trilogy. And so because this movie had all the best bits from all the other movies put into one, it just has to be the best for me. It just has to be my favourite, and this is definitely going to be one because of like the nostalgia aspect. Even though I didn't grow up watching Tobey or Andrew's movies, I've just previously watched them. This movie was great. And that is my ranking of all 8 live action Spider-Man movies. Comment down below what your ranking is. I feel like it may be slightly different, where maybe like the TASM movies lower down, maybe some of like the OG movies higher up. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more. I'm trying to hit 500 subs by the end of the year. You could be the person to make me hit that 500. I'll have more Marvel content in the future. In a couple of weeks time, I'm going to be ranking all of the releases of movies and shows that we had in this year. Will Spider-Man No Way Home make its #1 spot? And I'll also have a top 10 best movies of the year. Will Spider-Man No Way Home make that top spot? So you're gonna want to stick around for that. But thanks for watching this video. Bye.